So, where do you find the space, Tori? Your mother? Your businesswoman? A producer?
Well, I can get distracted like everybody else can, and that's when I stumble. No different than those figure skaters. I'm obsessed with figure skating. I mean, not really, but I don't like travel around and go to all the national meets or anything. See that woman, that redhead, sitting there. No, I think that the focus is really important, but more than anything, there is something about being part of a tradition of musicians that when you grow up in it as an apprentice, you watch people that have gone before you and you learn and you understand that their life commitment, their life is to the music. And you see the music as living beings. And I think the Native Americans see the land like this, and other tribal peoples really do see the land as alive. And I'm not talking about because it helps, DNA and cell structure. I'm talking about in a different form. And musicians that taught me just how they saw these living structures. They were galaxies, and I've approached them like that because of how I was taught. And I guess I was lucky that I was surrounded by such ideas people, visual artists too, who saw their, I don't know, maybe their visions that would come to them as they were really interpreters. And when musicians forget that they're interpreting something that exists already, it comes through our own language, and because I'm writing it and not you, I'm going to use different language than you would. But at the end of the day, really, the song is sovereign. The soul of it is independent. And when you realize that this soul from another space is coming to visit you, and yes, it's an ether form, and you have to put it in a form that people in this dimension can understand. It's a huge responsibility. And so really, I'm trying to kind of define this very complicated being to people. That's all my job is. I am not this complicated being. I am this person who I can hear her. And they come as light filaments, if we were going to talk about how they look. But because I can't draw, I could never put it down in that form. So sound is my medium. So I have to put it down, the harmonics of it, and the geometry of what I see in the light. And sometimes the blackness is very, very vast. Sometimes these structures are immense. They're the size of a river. And I stand and it's quite imposing. And I'll just sit and look at them for a while, and then they can make themselves tiny, 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 like this. They can do that. It's shape-shifting, as the Native Americans would say. But, I guess that's how the smart people say worlds were started. With a tiny little atom, and then it can become huge. And that's how the songs are. So they've always been like that, but I didn't know how in the beginning to define them.